Hey, what is up, guys? How's it going? This is Furgie here, back from A Squad Gaming, and today we are back once again with another Call of Duty Black Ops 3 video guide. More specifically today, we're going to take a look at zombies and something a little more intricate and a little more detailed. Now, this may seem simple to some of you, but for those of you who are not aware of what pack-a-punching is, what the pack-a-punch is, or how to find it, or anything like that, that is really what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about the steps you need to go about in finding it, how to find it, what round you should be at, and things like that, what it consists of, and really what the point of pack-a-punching is, because it is very important later on in the story for the Easter egg, as well as surviving on much higher rounds. So we highly suggest you check this out. We highly suggest you check out the pack-a-punch, and let's get right into it here. Now, for this video, we have two givens when really going about the steps of this guide. We want to assume that, number one, you know how to get into the Rift, and if you don't know how, you should probably check out our video on perks and how to find them, because in that video we do explain how to get into the Rift in the middle of the map. And you should also know how to go into Beast Mode and what it consists of. If you don't know what Beast Mode is, then you probably have no business worrying about the Pack-a-Punch yet, but really you can watch the video anyway and maybe figure it out later on. But basically, what the Pack-a-Punch consists of, opening it that is sacrificing all four of the main characters in the story and finding an item to sacrifice them with. So, first of all, we're going to start off here by finding one material which you need in every single sacrifice in order to sacrifice each individual person. In the very starting spawn area, you're going to break open this crate in the back of this truck here in the starting area, and you're going to grab this ball. This is the summoning orb, and this is going to be used with each individual character's specific part in order to sacrifice them in their specific location. And that's really how we open up the Pack-a-Punch, is after we sacrifice every individual person with their individual object, it's going to open up, and we'll explain how exactly to do that, what that's going to look like, and things like that. So make sure you have the orb in order to get started with this challenge. Jumping right into things here, let's start with our very first sacrificial item and location. Basically, for the lawyer or the private detective, whatever you want to call him, you're going to use the beast in the central area where you can branch into the 4 streets, and you're going to shock this electric box which is attached to a crane. And the crane is going to move, and it's going to drop the briefcase and pen right here, as you can see, and you're going to pick this up, and this is what you need in order to sacrifice the lawyer. Now keep in mind, you're not actually going to sacrifice him, so don't worry about that if you're actually playing as him. But you can see me shooting up there, and that is where we're going to need to go when we have our next optional beast in order to sacrifice him, actually go through with the process. Now, when you have another beast, you're going to run back around to the same route, and we're going to grapple up to this hook that is attached to that stairwell I was just shooting at. From there, you're going to run all the way through the area to the other side. Don't bother looking at things or taking it all in, because you're on a limited amount of time in your beast mode. You're going to get to the far side, you're going to shock another electric box in order to drop this stairwell, which is at the back of Easy Street. This is the starting area, and this is going to allow you to get the location in order to actually sacrifice the lawyer. So, once you have the briefcase and pen and this stairwell is open, you're actually ready to go through with it. However, I would maybe suggest having Jug just in case you screw up, at least quick revive if you're solo or something to that extent, because this can be a little intensive, but actually it is pretty easy once you get it down. Now, once we have the summoning orb, the briefcase and pen, and we have this area open, we can begin our first sacrifice. Now, you can do this very, very early on, obviously, as you can tell, and actually we can get to the Pack-a-Punch very early as well. So once we drop all 3 of these items, the ritual is going to begin. You can see the sacrifice going on in the middle, but more importantly, you can see all of these shadow people spawning out of these portals in the room. Now, I will suggest that only one person goes in here to try to do this ritual, because the more people you have inside, the more shadow people are going to spawn, and the harder it's going to be. You do not need to kill them. Actually, if you kill them, things will be harder and they will respawn. All you need to do is gather them around and train them around the area until the ritual ends. It's only about a minute or 2 minutes long, and it's really not that hard, because if you're by yourself, there's only 4 or 5 shadow people inside. So do keep that in mind, that you send your most confident player in here, I guess, whoever's done this before is comfortable with it, in order to perform the ritual. And once that finishes, you can collect your first gate worm, which we will explain here in a little while. Now, to gather our second piece and find our second sacrifice location, we're going to go over to Waterfront, and we're going to go beast mode and grapple up to a grappling hook near where the mystery box would be. If it's not there, obviously, just look for the location. Afterwards, we're going to grapple across the street and then knock down a box, which is going to drop our second sacrificial piece for the boxer. The championship fighting belt, I guess, is probably his belt or something like that. But after coming out of the beast mode, we're going to run all the way back over to where that box just dropped. It's actually in a very similar location to where the box is, so don't miss it. It's right to my right here, and there you go. Now you have your next piece, and actually this sacrifice and opening up his sacrificial location is very, very easy as well. You're going to need another beast, and you're going to need to first buy the door past the mystery box. This is the second door in the area once you're through into the actual waterfront street. After that door is open, you're going to have yourself or one of your buddies go beast mode and run all the way to the left to the far side of the docks. You can tell because you're going to be by a lot of water. This is the fighting ring, the boxing area, and it's where you're going to perform your second sacrifice. Now, here, I would say this one might be a little more difficult than the last. Basically, it all depends on the location that you're training in and things like that, but all of them are really very easy. So once you're practicing, you've done this a few times, you should be able to get to your mystery box and your Pack-a-Punch very, very, very easily. Now once we have all of our pieces, we're going to lay them down and begin the ritual just like last time. Keep in mind, I'm not going to show all of the footage for all of these because they're all very self-explanatory and they're exactly the same. They're just in slightly different locations, and you just have to train the shadow people around like you normally would for a few minutes. Now, another tip I want to give you guys is I would suggest doing this, even playing this map in general, with either 1 or 4 people, because with 1 you get multiple beast usages in 1 round, and with 4 obviously you have 4, so you can ultimately get the Pack-a-Punch open much faster. But there we have our second gate worm from the fighting ring, and we only have 2 to go. Now our third sacrificial object is the badge, and this is located in the canals. This is the third one we get in this particular run, but really you can do this in whatever order you want. It does not matter. They're not interconnected whatsoever. What we're going to do here is once we're in the canals, we're going to go beast mode and come down into the actual river section. You can break open your entrance to the rift if you like, but then to the right of this entrance is a small grate with a wooden crate inside. What you're going to do is break this in beast mode, and inside of this crate is going to be the badge. However, we can't grab it yet because this grate is in the way. So what we need to do is we need to go beast mode once again, and we need to run down to the far side of the canal, actually in the river, in the water, and we can walk in this little doorway that you can't normally see unless you're in beast mode and turn on a generator. This is going to open up the grate and allow you to grab the badge, giving you your third sacrificial object and getting you one step closer to sacrificing the magician. Now after you have the badge, you need to run back up into the canals and use a grappling hook which is attached to this kind of brothling looking building. You're going to run all the way down to the bottom of the building, down 3 flights of stairs, and turn on a generator connected to yet another stairway which is going to allow you access into this building. This is a little bit more intricate and it took us a little bit to figure out, but once you can find the grappling hook, really things are pretty smooth. Keep in mind you do have to open another door in order to get inside in the canals. Now, once we have this open and we have our badge, we are ready to do our third sacrificial ritual. This is pretty simple, and like I said, it's basically like all of the rest. This one's actually one of the easiest because you have a lot of places to run your rape train with the 4 or 5 shadow people. So just clean this up real quick and get yourself one step closer. Now, you may notice down in the rift while you're completing all of these rituals, assuming you've already gained access to the rift, which hopefully you have, that this wall with these glowing symbols is actually lighting up one by one, depending on how many rituals you've done. There you see we've only done 1 ritual, but this symbol is glowing on the wall. So keep that in mind later on, because that's going to come into play once we complete all of these sacrificial rituals. Speaking of which, let's jump right into our 4th and final sacrificial object. This one is located in the Footlight District. It is the wig and used to sacrifice the stripper. I guess she's a stripper, but what we're going to do is we're going to grapple up to this hook above where the perk would be located. This is the same method you would use in order to access the perk quickly. Then we're going to jump across a wooden ramp onto the ledge of this building and knock down a wooden box. Inside, it contains the wig, which is our 4th and final sacrificial object. Now, gaining access to the stripper's sacrificial location is a little bit more difficult, so we're going to walk you guys through that here. And actually, you don't need to open any more doors until you actually go through with it. You're going to take the exact same route you did to knock down the wig. You're going to grapple up to the same place, and then you're actually going to run to the far end ledge, kind of on a balcony outside of this kind of casino that we're sitting in. From there, you're going to look way, way, way far off in the distance, and you're going to grapple onto a hook that is above the strip club that she works in, above the big sign. You're going to go from there and fall all the way down behind the back of the sign and turn on a generator, which is going to open the front door. This one's a little bit more difficult, so there you guys go, you can figure that out. And now we're going to head right into the strip club to complete our 4th and final ritual. This one is the easiest by far. There's plenty of places to run around, and it's going to go very, very quickly for you. Keep in mind that depending on how many people you have playing with you, you cannot pick up all the gate worms at once. In both of these runs that you'll see here, we only had 2 people playing, so we actually had to come back and get the gate worms after we placed the first 2, which we'll take a look at in a sec. But if you have all 4 or have 3, obviously you can operate that a little bit differently. Now that we've gathered all 4 ritual pieces and their gate worms, we can officially head down into the rift to finish up our access to the Pack-a-Punch. Now, in my opinion, this is the coolest part, and it's also the easiest part. Getting all of the altars open, getting all of the pieces, and actually doing the rituals is by far the hardest, but you can still get it done pretty easily and pretty quickly, especially after your first time. You can really get in the hang of it and get it done pretty quickly. Obviously, we got it done around 11, but I'm sure you can do it much sooner. Now, these glowing symbols I told you about earlier, what we're going to do is once all of them are lit up, we're going to walk straight at this wall. It's going to explode, fade away, and we're going to open up this big cavern with some kind of celestial Aztec calendar looking thing in the background. Now what we're going to do is, in order to get over to this side of the room, we're going to need to place at least 2 gate worms on the right and left sides of this room. Now once you've placed these 2, if you already have 4, then you have the other 2 with you, but ourselves had to go back and pick up the other 2. Now once you've done that, you actually want to come back to this cavern and run across, like wall run is in multiplayer, these walls that appear on the right and left sides of the game. Don't screw this up because it is possible to fall. Trust me, I've done it. So once you're on the other side of this room, you're going to place the last 2 gate worms on either side of the celestial calendar, and you're going to get 4 blue beams heading right at the entrance, the mouth of this strange object. Afterwards, you need to head back to the entrance of the room at this altar that looks very, very similar to the ones we used to sacrifice the people, and from there you're going to press X and you're going to open up a epic final fight scene in order to finally access the Pack-a-Punch and really finish the first step of the Easter egg. This will be kind of the final shining moment for a lot of you guys if you're not going to go through with the Easter egg or get the swords, which we'll talk about in a later video, or anything like that. But it is pretty epic, and it actually can be a little bit difficult, especially if you're doing this in the middle of a round or something, which is why I would suggest having a crawler. You might actually kill him accidentally, but you never really know. So after you place this final summoning altar thing, you're going to open up a whole bunch of rifts, which are going to drop dozens and dozens of shadow people, and there are really a lot of them. There's a lot more than you're going to see in any of the sacrifice rituals, and you're going to have to handle them pretty quickly. There you can see we already killed our crawlers, so now we're going to have to deal with zombies and the shadow people at the same time. But once you finish taking down all of these people, you're going to officially have access to the Pack-a-Punch. The Pack-a-Punch is the blue glowing light inside of the celestial calendar at the far end of the room, and it works exactly as it would in any other version of Call of Duty Zombies. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to throw your gun in for 5,000 points, and it's going to upgrade it to an extent and make it a lot better, make it glow, make it look really cool, and things like that. Here we have the Shadow Man talking to us, kind of leading us into the next step of the story and just kind of taunting us a little bit. But like I said, we will get into that in a later video. Have fun Pack-a-Punching. Keep in mind, you can Pack-a-Punch more than once in this game now, and it actually has a benefit. You can actually gain some special abilities on whatever gun you Pack-a-Punch the second time. So I would suggest that because it will come in handy in the long run. Here I'm just going to show you guys some footage of me Pack-a-Punching the Haymaker. It's a pretty good shotgun. And then finally, our final fight into finally going down in this round. Alright guys, so I want to thank you all for watching. This video really did take a lot of work to put together, a lot of runs and a lot of practice. Our member Frosty was in here with me in both of these games, and he did help out quite a bit, so thanks to him. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's informative and it helps you out a lot in Zombies. Getting to the Pack-a-Punch in this game is actually a lot more complicated than it has been in previous versions of Zombies, so we do hope it helps. We hope it gets you onto higher rounds. We hope you have a lot of fun in Call of Duty Zombies. Again, thank you for watching. This has been Furgie from A Squad Gaming. We will see you all next time.